Welcome to LMU Community TV News. I'm Allison Barnett. Thanks for joining us. Let's take a look at the stories we have for you today. A Middlesboro man is behind bars after police say he was carrying methamphetamine on Saturday. 54-year-old Howard Stepp was arrested by Middlesboro police and charged with first-degree possession of a controlled substance. When confronted, officers say Stepp had a rock-like substance believed to be methamphetamine in a clear baggie. Police found a glass pipe and syringes as well. Stepp was also charged with possession of drug paraphernalia and tampering with physical evidence after police say he tried to hide the drugs. Stepp is being held at the Bell County Detention Center on a $5,000 cash bond. A Southwest Virginia hospital hopes to open its doors before the year ends. According to a report by WYMT, Lee County Regional Medical Center plans to reopen under a new operator. The medical center was closed in 2013 due to a lack of patients and declining reimbursements for patient care. AmeriCorps bought the facility for $2 million last year. The organization is in the process of reopening the hospital by December 27th. Reports state the medical center has been renovated to a 25-bed inpatient hospital. Representative with the local hospital authority held a meeting with officials from AmeriCorps recently, but no decisions were made after the nearly 2-hour-long meeting. Lee County Regional Medical Center isn't the only regional hospital owned by AmeriCorps. In May, the organization took ownership of Pineville Community Hospital and transformed it into Southeastern Kentucky Medical Center. Voters will head to the polls to have their voices heard on Tuesday. After weeks of early voting, those who haven't cast their votes will get to do so tomorrow. Polls will be open across Claiborne County from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. In Claiborne County, 2 referendums have been placed on the ballot for citizens to vote on. In New Tazewell, voters will decide whether or not to allow sales of wine at retail food stores in the city. In Tazewell, the community will choose whether or not to permit retail package stores to sell alcoholic beverages. Statewide, voters will be choosing a new governor and U.S. senator. Republican Bill Lee squares off against Democrat Carl Dean in the governor's race. Republican Marsha Blackburn leads Democrat Phil Bredesen by 5 points in a heated race for the U.S. Senate. Across the state line in Kentucky, there are several key races that will be decided tomorrow. Incumbent Mitch Williams places his seat up for grabs against Democrat Carl Frith and Independent Tommy Fusen in a race for sheriff. In the race for jailer, incumbent Gary Ferguson will square off against Democrat Larry McAuliffe. In what is expected to be a closely contested race, Middlesboro City Councilman Clarence Bo Green will take on U.S. Representative Rick Nelson for the Middlesboro mayor's seat. In Kentucky, the polls are open between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Kentucky State Police Post 10 will be conducting periodic traffic safety checkpoints throughout Bell County in the coming days. In a press release, the agency lists 83 potential areas where the checkpoints will take place, including the entrance to the Cumberland Gap Tunnel and several other locations along US 25E and US 119. The checkpoints will be conducted in an effort to enforce traffic laws. According to police, special attention will be paid to occupant protection, sobriety, insurance, and registration violations. Now let's take a look at your community calendar of events coming up over the next couple of weeks. First State Bank will honor and recognize those who have served and are continuing to serve our country during our Veterans Day program on November 8th at the Middlesboro Community Center on 30th Street. Program and dinner begins at 4:30 p.m. For more information, contact Pat Fulton at 606-248-9545. Indian Creek Baptist Church will be having a special Thanksgiving celebration with several community churches beginning at 6 p.m. on November 11th. Everyone is welcome. Now's a look at your community calendar. We're now moving on to your LMU Community TV News 5-day weather forecast. Tuesday morning will be partly cloudy with a high of 57 and a 25% chance of rain. As the day progresses, the skies will be clear and the temperature will increase to 58 and the chance of rain will decrease to 0%. Looking at your 3-day planner, Wednesday will have a 60% chance of afternoon showers with a high of 60. Thursday will be mostly sunny with a high of 57. Moving to your 5-day, Friday will have a 100% chance of rain and a high of 48, and Saturday will be sunny with a high of 46. Now's a quick recap of your 5-day forecast, but stay with us. It's coming up after the break. Brandon Burke will be bringing you your sports report right here on LMU Community TV News.
Hi, I'm Dr. Shields, and I'm a physician and the medical director at LMU Medical Clinics. This is a brief announcement about keeping LMU and you healthy during the upcoming flu season. Influenza, or flu for short, is a virus that causes fever, body aches, and upper respiratory symptoms like cough, runny nose, and sore throat. It is transmitted through the air and can even be spread on objects touched by someone who has the flu. The virus spreads easily from person to person and is most active from October through March. There are 3 things you can do to prevent becoming ill with the flu. First, get vaccinated. The most effective way of preventing the flu is to get the flu vaccine every year. The vaccine does not give you the flu or make you sick. The vaccine may not be 100% effective, however, it does offer significant protection and lessen the symptoms should you get the flu. The CDC recommends everyone 6 months and older be vaccinated before the flu season begins. Number 2, wash your hands. Stop the spread of germs and protect yourself with frequent hand washing with soap or alcohol-based hand sanitizer. And third, if you are sick, stay home. Should you become ill with flu-like symptoms of fever, sore throat, cough, limit your contact with others. Schedule an appointment as soon as possible with LMU Medical Clinic or your healthcare provider. There are antivirals that may be indicated if started within 48 hours of symptoms. Stay home until you are fever-free for 24 hours without over-the-counter medications like Motrin or Tylenol. I'm Dr. Shields, and this has been a brief announcement about keeping LMU and you healthy during the upcoming flu season.
What do we know about learning? It takes place beyond the pages of a book. We learn by exploring, by trying new things, by connecting, by sharing. We learn by taking chances and dreaming big. At Lincoln Memorial University, learning is beyond the books. It's everywhere.
Guess what? I have some news for you. There's free food right there, junk food. Do you see that truck? Oh, jeez. It's a 2 Michelin star chef. All for free, ladies and gentlemen. All for free.
Here we have a panzanella with summer vegetables and pesto. Enjoy. How we doing?
Fantastic. So what do you got going on underneath that plate there?
This food is really about to be thrown away.
Yeah. Bro?
Is there something wrong with this food? Where did you get it from?
From farmers markets. They put aside the ugly vegetables and the ugly fruits.
Carrot top, soft avocados. It was all food that was going to be discarded.
Even the drink you had is made from like a little bruised peach. Did it taste a little bruised?
Great. It's good.
The average person throws away 24 pounds of food a month.
That's a lot.
Isn't that a lot? Go visit SaveTheFood.com for more information. Thank you. Junk food time!
I love taking care of my mom. It wasn't easy at first. She learned how to better communicate her needs.
And you learned how to not ignore yours.
I discovered how to make healthier meals.
And I discovered how much I enjoyed them.
Becoming a caregiver is a learning experience for everyone. Find articles, tips, and tools from experts and others who have been in your place. The Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
Welcome back. Just 2 years removed from a program low 3-win season in 2016, the Lincoln Memorial women's soccer team can call themselves South Atlantic Conference champions, winning the SAC's 8-team tournament over the weekend, defeating 3rd-seeded Lenore-Ryan on Friday afternoon before doing the same to the number 1 overall seed Carson Newman on Sunday. The 2nd-seeded Lady Railsplitters, who edged Queens in overtime across the quarterfinal round, faced off against LR in Rock Hill, South Carolina in the semis, having little trouble shutting out the Bears en route to a 2-0 victory, advancing to the conference title match for the first time in 5 years. Despite getting outperformed in the shots department 19-12, LMU completed their 10th win via shutout this season off a strong performance from goalie Anne-Marie O'Connell, saving 6 LR shots on goal. Offensively, it took some time for Lincoln Memorial to find their opportunity, but once found, it was all over from there. Senior defender Courtney Boyd launching her first score of the season in the 71st minute, Itzel Ballesteros adding to that total just 5 minutes later to give LMU the 2-goal triumph. Not satisfied with just an appearance in the league's title contest, the Lady Railsplitters cemented their status as SAC champs on Sunday with a 3-1 win against 16th nationally ranked Carson Newman, winning the conference tournament for the first time in 11 years. Denying the Eagles their 4th straight SAC championship while giving CN their first loss ever in the league's title match in 8 tries, LMU raced out to a 2-0 lead in the first half thanks to consecutive goals from freshman Jessica Crivero and Ballesteros, although the Eagles stayed in the hunt with a 31st minute goal, pulling within 1. All hopes of a Carson Newman comeback were dashed in the 81st minute, however, Crivero putting the icing on the cake for the win and the conference title, the Italian's 17th goal this season, followed closely by Ballesteros' 11 goals along with a SAC leading 11 assists. Knocking off the Eagles to win the first SAC title in 11 years, the Lady Railsplitters, with their 14 win in total, have nearly matched their entire output over the last 3 seasons combined, receiving an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament in the process, their first appearance in the Big Dance since the aforementioned 2007 campaign. Winners of 6 in a row, 9-1 in their last 10 matches, and the new South Atlantic Conference tournament title holders, Lincoln Memorial will learn both who they play and where they will play in the first round of the NCAA tournament on Monday evening, that contest to be played this Friday, November the 9th. To find out who will stand in LMU's way as a magical blue and gray postseason continues, you can visit www.lmurailsplitters.com. And from one finished SAC tournament to another that is on its way to getting started, the Lincoln Memorial women's volleyball team said goodbye to the regular season over the weekend on the road, going 1-1 in a tough 48-hour stretch, besting Coker on Friday before falling to number 25 Wingate the following afternoon. It wasn't the prettiest match in spurts in Friday's match against the Cobras, but the Lady Railsplitters played well enough to reach a 3-1 victory in the Deloach Center, LMU winning the first, third, and fourth frames for their 4th W in a row. A 25-21 win in the opening frame couldn't propel Lincoln Memorial to a second set win, a 25-19 Coker decision instead, although it was all visitors for the remainder of the evening, LMU pulling out 25-14 and 25-15 victories to exit Hartsville with another clutch performance. Reaching 50 kills in all on a .226 hitting clip, the Lady Railsplitters were pushed to the win largely off the performance of senior Tone Gill, collecting 12 kills, 5 block assists, and 3 aces, helped out by 11 kills from Lindsay Nartker and 10 from Riley Storms. Fellow senior Kai Westman chipped in 7 kills on Friday, while defensively Emily Walter and Erica Whitaker were instrumental in holding Coker to a 95 attack percentage, the former with 22 assists on 17 digs and the latter scooping up 30 digs. Unfortunately for LMU, the misfortunes against Wingate continued on Saturday, the Bulldogs sweeping the Lady Railsplitters 25-17, 25-9, and 32-30 to end the regular season on a bit of a sour note for Lincoln Memorial. Wingate, who cruised to their 12th SAC regular season championship in the last 13 seasons, improved to 27-1 in the all-time series versus LMU, keeping LMU from winning a set when playing at Cuddy Arena since 2009. The Bulldogs overpowered Lincoln Memorial 41-33 in total kills, along with a 287-93 discrepancy in attack percentages. Wesseman, Gill, and Storms combining for 26 kills with 9, 9, and 8, although no other LMU player finished with more than 3. Even though the Lady Railsplitters could not get over the hump against Wingate, they remain in 3rd place in the SAC standings, awaiting round number 1 of the postseason, hosting 6th-seeded Queens on Tuesday evening inside Mary Mars Gymnasium. Having beaten the Royals in 4 sets both times that they crossed paths thus far this season, Lincoln Memorial hopes to advance to the semis with a 7 p.m. opening serve on Tuesday, broadcasted by the LMU Sports Network through LMURailsplitters.com. And it was a valiant effort for both basketball clubs for Lincoln Memorial on Friday night in exhibition play, both traveling to highly touted SEC programs where we got a first look at what's in store when the season officially begins next weekend. The Lady Railsplitters made the short drive to Lexington on Friday to meet the Kentucky Wildcats, and despite only dressing 8 players, competed with UK until fatigue settled in late, falling in the end 101-64. In the program's first exhibition bout in several seasons, LMU was boosted by the play of senior Rachel Griffith, who tallied what would be a career-high 26 points on 9 of 12 shooting and 5 triples had it not been for the fact that statistics do not count when in preseason competition. Nonetheless, Griffith had a very pleasant outing on Friday, while her sister Emily was equally as good, leading the team in rebounds with 10 next to 9 points and 5 assists. Sophomore forward Maggie Jackamzuk tallied 10 points for LMU as the final margin of victory for Kentucky was not indicative of how the majority of the contest played out. Outshooting the Lady Rail Splitters by only a 48 to 42% margin, LMU was sensational from beyond the arc at nearly 60%, ahead of UK's 26%. The Wildcats only out-rebounded Lincoln Memorial by 1 once the final buzzer sounded, and after performing very well when considering how many rotational players were absent over the weekend, LMU begins the 2018 through 19 season for real this coming Friday and Saturday in St. Augustine, Florida, participating in the Southeast Region crossover for a pair of non-conference meetings, taking on the host Flagler College for game number 1 before facing Georgia Southwestern the next day. The Lady Rail Splitters have plenty to be excited for after competing with Kentucky last weekend. The same can be said for the Men's Hoops Club on Friday, visiting the AP 11th-ranked Auburn Tigers in exhibition action, continuing their recently established tradition of scaring NCAA Division I programs, AU pulling away late for a 76-62 final margin of victory over the 3rd-ranked Rail Splitters, debuting 4 new starters from last season's legendary team while seeing 7 new players in total find minutes for the first time in their careers. Lincoln Memorial led over the Tigers for a significant amount of time in the first half, but similar to the women's game in Lexington, simply ran out of gas later on, allowing Auburn to assume control. Neither team shot the ball particularly well on Friday, the Tigers at 40% next to LMU's 36% mark, but the Rail Splitters were carried offensively by preseason D2 All-American point guard Cornelius Taylor, recording 25 points despite struggling from the field. Junior Anthony Brown showing out with 13 points on a team-high 8 rebounds. Redshirt junior Rondi Hackett contributed 9 points and 5 boards. Cameron Calhoun collected 6 points and 6 boards, and after giving last season's SEC co-regular season champs all that they wanted in a tight 14-point loss, the Rail Splitters, like their female counterparts, begin the season officially next weekend at a neutral site for 2 straight games on Friday and Saturday. Participating in the SAC versus Peach Belt Conference Challenge, facing Clayton State first, then battling the host USC Aiken in South Carolina the next afternoon. Once more, you can visit www.lmurailsplitters.com for further details on LMU's preseason ventures on the basketball court or for anything else Lincoln Memorial athletics related in this busy fall schedule. And the playoffs finally arrived on Friday in the world of high school football, at least in the states of Tennessee and Kentucky, and as win-or-go-home scenarios highlighted the night, as well as the final week of the regular season for Virginia. Let's recap all the final scores from around the tri-state area on the gridiron. Starting with the Volunteer State, there's now no one left in the region still competing once Friday's 4-game slate concluded, all teams that were still alive being eliminated rather emphatically. In Class 3A, the 2-win Claiborne Bulldogs ran into a wall in the form of undefeated Alcoa by the score of 56-0. And in the next highest class, the same result occurred for 6-win Union County, the Patriots getting shut out at the hands of unbeaten Anderson County 54-0. A hosting bid in Class 1A wasn't enough to keep 3-win Hancock County alive, the Indians losing in Sneedville to Oliver Springs in another scoreless outcome 39-0. And the Jellicoe Blue Devils, also in Class 1A in the postseason with only 1 win to their credit, fell at Coalfield 56-14. Moving on to the state of Kentucky, just 1 team in the area remains intact out of the 3 that competed, as both Middlesboro and Pineville were unable to stop increasing losing streaks when it mattered the most. The Yellow Jackets end 2018 with 9 consecutive losses after a 42-0 setback against Shelby Valley in Class 2A, and the Mountain Lions came up short for the 6th time in a row, bested by Pikeville 49-16 in Class 1A. The Bell County Bobcats, however, are still in the hunt, improving upon their 9-win regular season with a first-round triumph over Estill County 61-14, one of only 2 teams in the region still competing. And lastly, in the Commonwealth State, the other team that joins Bell County in postseason company, Thomas Walker. They could not find their footing against J.I. Burton in the 2018 finale. The Pioneers seeing their 4-game winning streak snapped at the hands of the Black Raiders 42-0, finishing the year at 7-3. While TW can still revel at the fact that they will suit up again next week for the playoffs, the Lehigh Generals have seen their campaign take an early exit, falling to Abingdon on the road 26-8, their 7th consecutive loss to end the year at 2-8. LMU Community TV Sports will have further coverage of the only 2 teams left standing in the region, Bell County and Thomas Walker, this Wednesday. And 10 weeks have now gone by in the 2018 NCAA football season. And as for the Tennessee Volunteers and the Kentucky Wildcats, last Saturday held very different outcomes, awaiting their own rivalry showdown with each other up next. For the Vols, who were back in Knoxville for their homecoming contest, needed another victory to edge closer to bowl contention, and they got it in the end over the Charlotte 49ers, albeit very uninspired. The score after one quarter read 14-0 UT, and after another quarter was 14-3, signaling halftime. There would be no further additions to the scoreboard over the final 30 minutes of playing time, Tennessee settling for an 11-point win over Charlotte on a chilly afternoon where defense ruled the day. Quarterback Jarrett Garantano completed 16 of his 21 pass attempts for 172 yards and a score, but the Volunteers were outgained in total yardage by the 49ers 244 to 192, Tennessee's defense saving the win. While the Vols somewhat regained their composure to improve to 4-5, the number 11 Kentucky Wildcats anticipated what was perhaps the biggest home matchup in what was several decades against 6th-ranked Georgia, the SEC Eastern Division Championship at stake in front of a raucous crowd at Kroger Field. Despite the hostile atmosphere, the Bulldogs were unfazed on their way to a 34-17 victory thanks to a 300-plus yard day on the ground. UGA turned a 14-3 halftime lead into a 28-3 advantage before the third quarter was over. Kentucky making things interesting with a late TD to cut the lead down to 2 scores, but could not complete the comeback in the end. A terrific performance from quarterback Terry Wilson. A 23 of 29 passing rate with 226 yards and a score could not translate into an SEC title berth, although the Cats still stand in 12th across the latest AP rankings with a 7-2 overall record. One of the oldest rivalries in the league will continue next Saturday for another chapter of the Tennessee-Kentucky story, kicking off at 3:30 p.m. on the SEC Network. And that is all for sports over a jam-packed weekend, but stay tuned as more LMU Community TV news is on the way right after this.
So we were walking to school. I started thinking about lunch. Mom packed me turkey and cheese.
She's
I really
smart.
want cheese pizza.
Sometimes her mind wanders.
We should have a sleepover.
I remember saying, Laura?
I think I heard Mom say something.
The sign says don't walk.
Sometimes it's so overwhelming.
I really hope she doesn't have
I really
another
hope I
bad
don't
day
have
at
another
school
bad day at
today.
school today.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. Go to understood.org, a free online resource with support and tools to help your child thrive.
Here we go. We're going to go out there in the rain. It's going to get wet. All right, here we go. Okay, quick. Oh, yeah. Yes. So much fun. Mwah. We're getting so wet.
I like to eat apples and bananas. I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
One in 5 children struggles with hunger in America. Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Thanks for watching LMU Community TV News. I'm Allison Barnett, and have a great evening.